Hi, it's Friday the 16th of January 2026, and welcome to this week's My Thoughts vlog. Now, this is a bit of a special one. It's kind of an urgent appeal, really, for some help on Hillsborough Law. As you may have been aware recently, there's been a bit of a stumbling block for Hillsborough Law, and basically what it is, some faceless, unknown ministers or civil servants in the Home and/or Foreign Office have made some changes to Hillsborough Law, and they're not good. It's in effect an exemption for the security services. Now, the reason this has been done is because security services claim it will impede their function or breach national security if they have to tell the truth, if they're compelled to tell the truth, basically. What these changes mean is that the heads of the security services, so MI5, MI6, GCHQ, they will decide whether their individual officers have to tell the truth in court or to inquiries. They've also made a change so that they are not listed as a public authority, and that the heads of those organisations cannot and will not be made accountable for stuff that goes wrong on their watch. Now, why is this important? Well, no one should be above the law, not ever. National security and this impediment to their functions, it will be used and abused to cover whatever they like. So it's not going to matter what the circumstances are, they will find a reason to use national security to cover it. And there is precedent for this because for our own nuclear test veteran campaign, the Merlin database was locked and classified, citing national security to prevent enemy states and terrorists from building a nuclear weapon. They hid all these files away, thousands and thousands and thousands of them. Now, what they did was they took a whole bunch of documents that really they didn't want anyone to see, had nothing to do with nuclear weapons, and could not tell you how to make a bomb, and put them in this database. They then chuck in a handful, and I mean a very small number, of documents that potentially could risk national security, and that was used as justification to classify the whole database. Now, we know this because it's been declassified, and it's being declassified relatively quickly, which tells you that actually there wasn't a lot in there that needed classifying in the first place. And we haven't got answers as to why it was classified in this way, why all these documents, the extra documents that are not a breach of national security, were classified in the first place. Will we ever get that answer? Don't know. And also, another precedent for this using national security to prevent whatever they want don't coming out is that, they have, as in the Ministry of Defence, have covered and concealed evidence of human radiation experiments using their national security powers. Now, that's just to save face, isn't it? Because, experimentation on human beings is not allowed, and they did it. So they used their national security powers to hide the evidence and hide their own cover-up, basically. So that is just two examples of how national security can be used to hide whatever the hell you like, whether it breaches national security or not. And the security services will use and abuse this exemption, as too, I suspect, will the MOD and the military, and anybody else who can possibly find a way or a loophole of doing so. That is the state of play. Now, what it leaves us then, if this goes through uncorrected, as it is at the moment, is a situation where in the future, just say, for example, purely hypothetically, two incidents happen where, say, somebody dies. One is involving an authority that is not security services, say for example the NHS or a police force, and another incident happens very similar, somebody dies, and the, the people that are involved are security services, say MI5. So you would have two victims, both dead, both at the hands of a public authority. When it comes to inquest and court, one set of relatives would deserve and get the truth. The other set of relatives would not. That is not fair. The victims are the same. They are individual people. They are human beings. They are citizens of the United Kingdom. They both deserve the same treatment. Now, you could argue, does that put a different value on human life depending on who kills you? I mean, that's a terrible state of affairs. Unthinkable. So, yeah, security services want the ability to lie. They want the right to lie in court and mislead inquiries and do whatever the hell they like. Bear in mind, if you or I did that, it would be called perjury, and we would end up being prosecuted for that criminal offence. So, if Hillsborough Law goes through on Monday in its current state, that is the state of affairs we have. The very law that was designed to prevent disasters and to stop cover-ups, it will not work. It will not work for everybody. It will not work for anybody involved in the security services. It will not work for nuclear test veterans. It will not work for Chinook justice. It will not work for, Gulf War veterans. A whole raft of people will not have justice and truth available to them. And that is not what the bill was designed for. It is not the Hillsborough Law. And that is what we want. The Hillsborough Law, we've always said it from day one, it's all or nothing. Nothing less than the full Hillsborough Law will do. So, what can you do to help us? And that's what we really need. We need your help. We need you to write to your MP. Write to your MP because Ian Byrne has tabled some amendments which would set right the Hillsborough Law and would make it the Hillsborough Law that we want and the one that we can support. It is vitally important that MPs get behind Ian Byrne's amendments. And there's a time constraint because this is debated on Monday. So please, please write to your MP before Monday. Now, there's a link and a template of an email that you can use. I'll put it in the comments or the notes accompanying this, depending on which platform you're watching. And should you be in doubt, just go on my Twitter. It will be on there. But I'm begging you, please, please, please write to your MP because there's too much at stake. We've campaigned so long and so hard for this. It cannot fail at the last hurdle. We were promised by Keir Starmer the full Hillsborough Law. Now, credit to him, and I think it's great that we have got 99% of the way. 99% of the way. It's a fantastic achievement, and, thank you, Prime Minister, for doing that. But do not fail at the last hurdle. Do not snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. It's just unthinkable. Stand up to the security services. They've been too powerful for too long. Remember, it's the Prime Minister that's the boss, not them. The tail should not wag the dog. So, I have to say, check out the link, write to your MP. Thank you very much for listening, and as always, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments. I will answer them in the next vlog. It's nearly the weekend, so have a great one, everybody, and I will speak to you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.